Everyone. This is Balaji Raghuttaman. I welcome you all for a product demo of Clarity by Broadcom. So the agenda for today, we'll introduce our speakers. We'll quickly go over the company overview, which is Albatroz, and we'll also look at value ops from Broadcom at a glance, and then followed by the Clarity product demo. Introduce myself. I am one of the co-founders and CEO of Albatroz. I'm based in Coimbatore, down south in India. I have about 23 odd years of experience in the IT industry, most of them focused on ClarityPPM implementation. So in my tenure, the last 2 decades, I've worked with a lot of customers globally and across multiple verticals to help them implement the solution and also extend the value of their implementation through, planning the roadmap of enhancements and phase delivery of Clarity. And also improve the product adoption through best practices and education of customers. I've also done engineered a few pre-built plugin solutions for Clarity that are implemented at several customers, which quickly add value to their implementation, such as pre-built integrations. And at Albatroz, my focus is on sales, finance, and operations functions. I'd also like to welcome James Teh from Broadcom. He's here today as a guest speaker, and he will be performing the Clarity demo for us. James Teh is a domain specialist for Broadcom's ValueOps solutions and for focusing on APJ territory. He is based in Sydney, Australia, and has worked extensively throughout this region. He has over 15 years of experience in PPM and work management space. He provides deep experience and insights and advice on successfully adopting Broadcom's Clarity, Rally, and Connect All ValueOps products. Um, and he helps customers who are embarking on a journey of strategic portfolio management and digital transformation based investment strategic planning. So welcome, James, and thank you for your time today. Quickly looking at Albatroz. So Albatroz is a 6-year-old or 6.5 years old organization, and we are based in Coimbatore. We specialize on project and portfolio management domain, as well as automation and business intelligence solutions, specifically on market-leading software such as ClarityPPM from Broadcom and Rally. And we are here to help our customers who are purchase such enterprise software to optimize the value of their investments on these solutions by helping them to quickly adopt the product, as well as to extend the value of their implementation through in a phased manner. We help them to implement various features that are available for them, and to minimize the technical debt that they might have through best practice implementation. Albatroz is a standards and process focused company. So true to that statement, we are ISO 9001 certified, and we are also from a delivery process perspective, we are capability maturity model level 3 certified from a services perspective, and we continue to invest on improving our quality and industry standards through such certifications. So this helps us to establish trust with our partners and clients from the delivery quality perspective. We are proud to be partnered with Broadcom. We are a tier 1 pinnacle partner for Agile Operating Divisions, focused on Indian territory, and we are also an expert advantage partner with consulting and managed services capabilities, delivering the service for customers globally. On our competency portfolio, we are specialized on value of solutions such as Clarity, Rally, Connect All. And from an automation domain perspective, we are specialized on atomic automation from Broadcom, atomic automation intelligence from Broadcom, test data management from Broadcom, and other third-party softwares in this space as well. On top of that, we also provide service offerings on business intelligence services through solutions from Microsoft Power BI, Tableau, etc. A quick highlights about our company. So, with 6+ years in the business, we have delivered over 200 plus projects, of most of them on Broadcom Solutions, to about 50 odd customers. And we have about most of our delivering services are set on the solutions that they are working on. And that is one of those things that we ensure that, as a value to our customers, to our consultants who bring in wealth of, experience along with them when they are consulting. That's about Albatroz. I don't want to take too much time away, and we can jump on to the Clarity product demo. James, if you're ready, the floor is for you.
Yep. Thank you, Balaji. Let me just try by first of all sharing my screen. Okay, just want to confirm that the screen is shared.
Just a second.
Yeah.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, thank you. Yep. So, thank you, Balaji, for the kind introduction to both myself as well as Broadcom. So, today, as this part of the webinar or web session today, I'm going to go through a product demonstration of the Clarity solution. So, first of all, Clarity is a project portfolio management solution that is a web-based application. So, in terms of organizations consuming Clarity, they either consume a SaaS-based solution or an on-premise solution. So Clarity is offered in both these guises, and both of the versions, both SaaS as well as on-premise, are exactly identical. So we are flexible in terms of your best practice for solution deployment, right? Whichever way you want to go, whether you've got a SaaS direction or an on-premise direction, we will be able to cater for that requirement. Okay, so Clarity, I always like to start off with the login screen because in actual fact, Clarity, for most organizations, the end users will never actually even see this login screen because Clarity is SSO enabled. Right, it follows the SAML 2.0 protocol, so it will be able to integrate with your identity management solution. So users will be able to hit the login that I've highlighted at the top, and they will be seamlessly brought into the solution, right? And that when they log in, when they get brought into the solution, they will have security rights based on their role, right? So the solution will know that this individual that has just logged in is a project manager, or are they just a timesheet user? Are they from the PMO? Are they from an executive, or from the executive branch, right? The system will know who they are in the organization, and then appropriately give them the security and view edit rights that they are entitled to. Now, this security also applies across different divisions within your organization, right? So the example I always like to give is that this will allow you to have granularity such as, for example, a finance or a project manager in the finance division will not be able to see projects in the legal division or in the IT division. So that means we can segregate, and as an example, with quite stringent granularity, the security model, right? And this goes even down to the field level as well, right? So if I don't want a particular field being edited by a certain subset of users, right, that can be catered to as well, right? So Clarity security model, extremely robust, enterprise grade. And also, I'll just make mention of this as well, since we're talking about security, the entire solution is audit trail enabled, right? So if somebody makes a change to the data, I know who made the change, I know what they changed it to, I know when they changed it, right? So that's why we are one of the top choices. Clarity, as well as a project management solution, is one of the top choices for large-scale enterprises such as financial institutions, because we've got that security, we've got that governance that they require. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to log in to Clarity. Okay. So I'm going to log in here and I'm going to hit a little home page, right? But the first thing I want to bring your attention to is on the left here. So you can see on the left here, Clarity has many functional modules available for organizations. Now, because of time constraints in this webinar today, we will only be going through a few of these, right? The core functionalities that most organizations roll out. Okay. Now, when it comes to a demonstration, I like to start at the beginning of initiative or a project, right? And actually, it all starts with an idea. Right? We want to be able to capture the demand that builds up our project pipeline. Right? And we want to be able to then approve an idea or check the idea, approve it, and then eventually convert it into a project where we can execute upon it and then gain its benefits. So for ideas, we use Clarity's ideas module, right? So this is where organizations start to capture their project pipeline, right? So you can see here, I'm highlighting here, here's a list of all the ideas in my organization. I've got 16 of them here. And with each ideas, I can start categorizing them into, well, for example here, what's been approved or submitted for approval, right? So I've got kind of stage gating for these ideas, right? So I know which kind of where they are at in terms of their status. I've also got other fields such as strategy to ensure that the idea that I'm submitting or that I'm considering actually ties to my organizational strategy. One of the biggest mistakes that organizations make is funding projects that actually don't tie to a particular strategic goal for their organization. So by implementing a single source of truth like Clarity, right, we've got the capability to make data-driven decisions, right? I know that Able Payments digital experience, this particular idea here, is tied to my customer or delight customer goal, right? So that ensures that the projects that I fund actually tie to my strategy. And of course, I've got other fields here such as priority. So it helps me prioritize what I want to approve and what I want to put in the backlog, right? So I've got some scoring mechanisms for priority, dates, some initial costings, and also a brief description, right? So, and with all these fields, one of the best parts about Clarity is that the data model is extensible. So you can see here, these are all the different fields that are available out of the box for Clarity. Now, if there's a field or if your organization requires a new field to be created, that's very easily set up, right? And then it will appear in this list, and then we can and I'll just show an example, just click and drag it and move it into my view. All right. So the data model is very extensible and all API enabled as well. So every field that I create, every field that you see in Clarity is API enabled for integration purposes. Okay. Now, in this view, I would also like to turn your attention to the widgets at the top. So I'm just highlighting these widgets you can see up here. They're just to help end users get some kind of quick wins in terms of analytics, right? I can get some statistics about how my idea makeup or the makeup of my ideas is split throughout my organization. I can split by status. You can see how many are approved, right? How many are high priority, right? So these widgets, they're all configurable and they can be easily put onto views such as this. Okay. So now let's actually deep dive into an idea, right? So what I can do is actually click into the Able Payments digital experience idea. So here's where I'm presented with a form-like view, right? I can collapse the sections that I do not want to see. You can see that. And then I can start to capture some idea or business case like information. So lean canvas here is the methodology that we follow here. Like there's a problem statement, a solution, unique value proposition, unfair advantage. And then you can see here, I've also starting to have some scoring as well, right? So these little drop downs here, they will drive the business alignment score, right? So let's say I change this to very high. You should start to see some changes in the score. There you go. It went up from 58 to 67. So Clarity fields have got the capability to derive calculations, scores from drop-down fields that you can see here. Financial summary. So I've got some high-level costings as well as high-level benefits, right? For my particular idea, I can put them into the solution as well. All right. So that is a typical form which organizations use to start populating their idea pipeline. Now, you can see here, I've got an idea approval button. So this is when the form is completely filled, right? I'm happy with all the data, right, that I filled out here. The score is good. I'm ready to approve it. I click idea approval. What that does is I'm going to click the workflow tab, is it then can initiate a Clarity workflow where the idea goes through the various approval mechanisms. So for example, the idea will go to a finance approval where the Clarity will send out an email to the finance manager for them to approve, right? Then it will go to the, it might go through the PMO, right? It might go up to various other project stakeholders, right? The executive, right? The business sponsor. Once it goes through these approval mechanisms, right? Everyone clicks approve. Only then will the idea be converted into a project. Right, so you can see here the workflow capability of Clarity. And we can also, with these workflows, we can do, they're flexible. So we can do things such as, if, for example, the project is under $1 million, then it won't have to go through all the approvals of a large project, right? So maybe instead of having the 5 approvals, it will only need 2 approvals, right? Depending on the size or the cost of the project. The other factor that we can pivot on is also, and many organizations do this, is where you have different divisions in your organization following different idea approval processes. So for example, an IT project will go through an approval workflow, their own approval workflow, but the finance project or a HR project will go through maybe a more simplistic workflow, right? So we can tailor, or Clarity will be able to determine what is the workflow to be applied for this particular idea. Now, when I'm assessing the idea, I want to be able to assess the idea on a page, right? I don't want to have to, trawl through the different data points. I want, especially as an executive or a business sponsor who is time poor, I want to be able to see on a dashboard the entire business case. And this is what Clarity can offer. It can digitize the business case into a Clarity dashboard so that then our end users, our approvers, can just click into the business case dashboard. You can see here, view all the relevant data. What's my CapEx and OpEx spend for this particular idea? What's my ROI? What's my NPV? My priority scoring, compliance. And then also, if required, I can even bring through some detailed financial benefits as well. So I can put all that data that's been completed in the forms and relevant modules, put them on a page so they can be consumed easily. And then, like I talked about earlier, I want to be able to make data-driven decisions. So I look at this data, I'm happy with the idea, and then I can go ahead and approve it. Now, for stakeholders that don't have access to Clarity, or maybe they're too busy to log into the system, I've also got an export to PDF function. So I can export this really nice looking dashboard, put it on a PDF, download it to my PC, and then send it out to the relevant stakeholders. Right. So that's how we start to populate an idea, right? We capture the ideas, we populate the ideas with the necessary information, right? And then it goes through a workflow, which then gets approved by stakeholders. And then eventually, at the end, it gets converted into a project. Which brings us on to the next step of our journey, which is projects. Right, so you can see here, I can approve one of these things as well. Let me just see here. Change this to approved, right? And then that will convert it into a project. So let's go to the projects section of Clarity. So this is where all the projects in my organization live. Inside Clarity, the single source of truth for all PPM and work-related information in my organization. You can see here, these are all the projects that are currently live and being executed. I've got a Gantt bars to show where they are in terms of the timeline, little diamond icons to indicate which milestones have been completed for each of these projects as well. Right. You can also see at the top here, my 4 widgets, right? Again, right, this widget capability and with this widget technology is prevalent throughout the entire solution, right? So no matter what view I have, I've got the ability to use these widgets, right? So now you can see that the widgets have changed. They're no longer idea focused, they're more project focused. So here's my split costs by project manager, who are my most busy project managers in terms of my organization, and also what's the makeup of my projects. How many small projects do I have? How many major projects do I have? All right. Now, just like in ideas, I can now click into a project to view detailed level information. Now you can see here, again, I'm presented with a form screen, but it's a different form, right? It's no longer capturing idea information, it's actually capturing project information. I've got the project name, I've got the start date, finish date, right? So I know, when the project is starting. I've got an objective, right? So this is what we're doing in the project, right? We're developing and implementing a comprehensive payments module for the Able platform. Right? So I know when the project is starting, and I know what we're doing. Just to also highlight this little cool button here, this AI actions here. So Clarity is also AI integrated. We can integrate with 2 of the most popular AI solutions out there, which is OpenAI, ChatGPT, and also Google's Gemini platform. All right, so we can hook into an AI engine and then use that to do such things. You can see here, revise content, grade content. It can also generate content as well. So based on the different data points in your project, it can then create a status summary. And I think I'll be able to show you that a bit later on. So AI capability definitely available for Clarity PPM. Okay. So we've got the when, we've got the what. Now let's talk about the who. Who's actually going to do this project? And that's where we go into staffing here. So this in staffing is where I formulate my project team, right? So all these users here, and as well as agile teams, if I so wish, right? I capture their allocation to the project. I book them onto the project so first of all, that I consume their capacity, right? Now make sure that they're busy. And most importantly, I ensure that no other project can steal my resource away from me. Right, so I book them in, I can put in the allocation here. This is in FTE, right? So 0.63 means about 63% of Joyce's time. I can just type that in and change it to 100%, 1 full FTE. So I need Joyce for the entire June 2024, for example. Right? So that's the who of my project team, right? Now I have to ask the next question, which is how? How are we actually going to get this project completed? got my team of crack individuals ready to go. So I need a project plan. So Clarity supports both waterfall as well as agile as well as hybrid methodologies, right? So I'm going to show you first the timeline view. So this is a standard waterfall way or standard waterfall project planning. So I can have phases here. You can see that phases with milestones. I've got tasks, and I can even have sub-projects as well. I can integrate sub-projects, their child schedules into my master schedule, as you can see here. So this payment API work item here that I'm expanding and contracting, that is a sub-project. Right, so I can very easily manage my tasks through a waterfall Gantt-like view. Right, and you can see here task dependencies as well. Now, if I want to move towards a more agile way of working, well, with a flick of a switch, right, Clarity has also got the capability to put tasks or formulate tasks on a Kanban view, like you can see here. And like any good Kanban, I can do things like drag and drop, all right, move things over to the different columns in my Kanban board. All right, so no matter which way I want to run my project, do I want to run it agile? Do I want to run it waterfall or maybe even hybrid? Clarity's got you covered in terms of meeting that requirement. So that's the how of how we're going to actually execute this project, right? So if we finish all our tasks that you can see here, right, we'll be able to, or most likely, attain project success and project completion. Now, one of the big factors that we have for any project is, of course, the monetary factor. So Clarity also has the capability to capture project financials. All right, so in our financials here, in this financials tab, I capture my forecasts in my cost plan here. So here, this is where I can have views on forecast costs as well as actual costs. Right, you can see here the two columns here, forecast and actual, right? And I can split out my costs into different categories. So the most common one is most likely CapEx and OpEx. So I split it out into that first. And then the different cost categories in terms of transaction class. So here I've got some costs for hardware, labor, software, travel, for example. Now, all these are entirely configurable by you to meet your organization's financial terminologies. So let me just add a row to show you. So let's say I'll add a new CapEx row, and then it is CapEx maintenance, for example, right? So I can add that row there, and then I can start putting in my costings in, right? So I'll need, that much, and then I can use Clarity's copy and paste functionality to populate the cost forecasts. So capability of Clarity to handle project-based accounting, right? Including actuals, including forecasts, and then cost tracking in general. Right. Now, as the project goes along, I need to do some status reporting. So this is where Clarity's status report module comes into play. So this is where project managers can do things like grade their project in terms of red, amber, green statuses, right? You can see here, right? Just a simple status to indicate to my stakeholders how my project is going, how many risks I've got. So Clarity also has a risk module where we can capture that at the project level. And you can see here the status narrative. So this is where project managers will be able to type out, their key wins in the past month, for example, right? Key challenges, right? Or I can also ask AI to build out my content for me based on the data. Right? The status report, risk information, and then I click preview here, and then what I can do is it will be able to generate a PDF, just like my business case dashboard that I showed you earlier, and then I can save that and then send it out to my stakeholders. we'll just wait for that to generate. Here you go. Here's your little one-pager status report. I click publish. That will finalize the report, and then I can save it onto my machine through the download button. So that's how we do status reporting. Now, if I wish to view the status online, of course, I also have my project dashboard. So similar to the business case dashboard that I showed you earlier, but this one, of course, is more project focused, right? I've got all the key information here for my project: risks, milestones, tasks, issues, resource splits, right? Anything and everything to help me as a project stakeholder know where I am at with my particular project, right? Again, data-driven decisions, right? So based on the data that I'm seeing here, I can maybe talk to the project manager about, oh, this sponsorship risk, it's high, right? It's red, it's on my dashboard, it's red. Can we talk about it? Why is it red? What can I do to help mitigate that risk, right? Again, the dashboard is all about empowering our end users with information. Okay. So now that I've got, I've walked you very quickly through ideas and projects, right? Ideas form our pipeline, and projects are the things that we are executing right now. But in all honesty, to get the entire view of my organization, of my organization's work, both present as well as future, I need to marry those two sets of data up, right? I need to have a view where I can combine the ideas that are in my pipeline as well as, or merge them with the project information that I'm currently executing upon. And to do that, we use Clarity's roadmaps function, right? So clicking roadmaps here in the roadmaps module, I'll click the ideas and projects roadmap that I've got as an example here. So this is where Clarity has the capability to merge both idea information and project information and then present them to stakeholders in a roadmap, a graphical roadmap. So you can see here, this is all the different projects and ideas, right? With key dependencies being outlined. I've got little badges here that show the costings, right? And I can also, what I'll show you quickly, very quickly here, is with this capability, I can also, for my projects, here you go, present milestones as well on these bars. So again, just like the view that I had for projects, I can see the completion status of each of these project items here. So you can see here, this one, this milestone here is complete. So a great way to analyze, especially in a visual sense, my organization roadmap. What I can also do is, again, using the power of my widgets here, I just expanded this out here, I can then start to do an exercise where I, especially for my ideas, right, approve them notionally and see how much that affects my capacity for both cost as well as my resourcing, as you can see here. So project manager and architect, I've got a finite number of resources for that, right? As well as my cost envelope. So I've got a target, right, or budget of about $10 million, right? I want us to be able to see what I can do with my list of initiatives. So here's where I go to the grid view. You can see here, this is the magic indicator on the left-hand side, in plan and not in plan. So what I will do is I will start to mark things as in plan, as in these are the items that I want to approve. And you can see at the top, my constraints are starting to be filled, right? I'm starting to get closer to my constraints. So eventually what will happen is I'm just going to mass approve a certain number of items here. So eventually what will happen is I will reach a tipping point, right? I have a list of 17 initiatives here. I can't do all 17 because I will run out of resourcing for my project manager resources, as well as I'm also over budget, right? So what Clarity allows me to do is kind of find the right balance in terms of what I can approve, so that I don't exceed my cost constraints as well as my resourcing constraints. So roadmaps, not just a view of, what my forward-looking view for the next 2 years, for example, not just that, not just marrying idea and project data into one screen, but also having the capability to mark things as in plan, out of plan, approve things notionally, right? And then see how far I can push the envelope in terms of my budget and resourcing constraints. Right. I've also got the capability, just to round this off here. Again, actually, I'll go back to my roadmap view. Just give me a second here. Export to PDF. So again, I can click this, and then it will generate the roadmap onto a PDF so that I can then download it and then send it out to my targeted audience. Right. Now, this is a really good way of being transparent with my organization's plan, right? I can very easily send this roadmap out to my audience and say, yep, guys, this is what we're going to do for the next 6 quarters, for the next 1.5 years, right? These are the items on my roadmap. Let's go and get it done. Everyone is, aware, right? And has the knowledge of what we are, or the projects that we're driving towards, and as well as the dependencies. Okay, I'm going to move on to my next module now. So I did talk briefly about, you can see here, project manager and architect, resourcing constraints, right? So resourcing constraints and resourcing challenges are probably, aside from financial challenges, right, the top 2 problems faced by projects in execution, right? I'm either running out of money or I'm running out of people. So how does Clarity help that? Clarity's staffing module will be able to analyze your entire resource pool. You can see here, here's my resource pool. These are all my resources in the system, right? And then we'll be able to call out whether certain resources are overutilized or over-allocated or not, or free, right? So you can see here, for example, I've got Isaac here. I've got red indicators showing that he's being overbooked. So I can then click, I can expand Isaac and then see what he's working on. So he's working on 4 separate projects, right? That's not going to work, right? Let's talk to the project managers of these projects and see what I can do to alleviate Isaac's workload, because unless he works 24 hours a day, he's not going to get any of this work done. So this is an organizational problem that we have to help our project managers and our resource managers solve. And again, Clarity is able to highlight these resourcing over allocations very simply through the staffing screen, as I've shown you here, right? So anything with a red indicator, and you can see in my demo environment, I've got a few, anything with a red indicator indicates or shows that there's a problem that I should deep dive in and analyze. Again, John Derrickson, he's working on the digital banking app as well as the global delivery project, right? He's double booked. So we need to solve that problem. Again, data-driven decisions. Here's the data. Now let's make a decision about how we are going to help John, or take work away from John and give it to another individual. Right. So able to go into my resource pool and work out these resourcing shortfalls. Now I can also, what I'll also do is show you on this side, I've flipped the screen a bit. So for my different roles in my organization, right, I can see the resources under a particular role. So I can see all my architects and then see whether they're allocated or see whether they're over allocated, right? So I've got different grouping and filtering mechanisms to help me, especially if I'm a resource manager of just the architect team. I've got different filters to, sharpen my focus into the resources that I'm interested in. Okay. Now, with this data, I can also show not only forecast data, but also actuals data as well. So actuals data is the number, right, where, or the metric where, which indicates how much they've actually worked on a particular project, right? So for example, in this case, you can see here, Jason, right, on this particular line, in August, he was allocated about 20%, but he worked about 70%, 0.2 and 0.7. Right, so there's a difference there between allocations and actuals. Again, data-driven decisions. I can talk to Jason. I can say, hey, how come you were allocated only 20%, but you put in 70% of work? Now, how is that 70% put in? Well, the main way that our customers load actuals in is, of course, through timesheets. So Clarity has a very robust timesheet capability. So our end users will be able to go in here. I'll just copy my previous timesheet and then fill out time or fill out their time card for the different projects and tasks that they're working on. Right, so I can fill in all that and then I can click submit. That will go to the relevant project manager or resource manager for them to approve. You've also got timesheet rules. So for example, if I try to work over 24 hours in a day, right, I can click submit and then there will be a timesheet banner at the top saying daily hours cannot exceed 24 hours for obvious reasons. Right. So timesheet rules to help, again, with the governance of time capture. The other thing that I also want to call out is you can see that weekends are grayed out, right? So Clarity's got the capability to integrate with your leave system, right? And bring in the non-working days. So if, for example, I was on leave for Wednesday the 27th, that will also be grayed out. And I wouldn't be required to enter time in for the days I'm on a holiday, obviously. Right. Now, I just wanted to finish off this conversation quickly talking about integrations. I did quickly touch on it. So Clarity has a very robust API, REST API model that can both be read in terms of being a data source, as well as where we can put in data through APIs, inject data through the APIs. So that includes project information, project financial information. So one of the most popular integrations that we offer is the ability to take in financial data from your finance system. So I'm talking about solutions such as Oracle, SAP, right? Take that financial data and then put it into the project accounting module in Clarity, the finance module in Clarity. Another very popular integration is, of course, to populate. I talked about the staffing module, right? So with your HR solution, so that every night, for example, right, Clarity will be able to get the HR, the resourcing data from your HR system and then populate itself and build its resource pool. And this is really handy because, for example, for resources that leave the organization, right, they can be made inactive straight away in Clarity, right? Or for contractors where their start date and finish date is updated, they've got a new contract, right? That kind of data can be immediately brought into Clarity so that the Clarity resource pool record is updated as well. So those are the most common integrations: finance integration, HR integration. Other common examples of integration include, for example, with agile management tools. I know we have a native integration with our sister product, our sister agile work management product, Rally. But of course, we can also integrate with other agile work management solutions such as Jira or Azure DevOps. So that's another popular integration use case that we see with our customers. Okay, so I'm going to now stop there. I hope you got a lot out of this particular demonstration today, right? And of course, please feel free to reach out to Albatroz if you need any kind of follow-up or deep dive into any of the modules that Clarity offers, not just today, right? That not just that you've seen today, but also anything that you've seen on our websites. Balaji, I'll just hand it back to you for closing remarks.
Thank you, James, for the wonderful demo, and appreciate your time and joining us today and doing this for us. I think you covered the various aspects of Clarity, and starting from the technicalities of overall logins mechanism it supports, to how from ideation to project management to staffing it can support, as well as going over the road mapping capabilities of Clarity as well, and time sheeting, of course. So thank you so much for doing this. So I request the audience, if there is any questions that you might have, or you want to reach us for any further demos on specific use cases that you might have for your organizations, we are happy to help. So please reach out to Albatroz and on the numbers or email mentioned here. So we'll be happy to help. Thank you again. Have a good day. Bye bye.